Chafetz Chaim once said over to a group of people a story that had happened in his town. As in many towns in Europe, as we have today, just in a little bit of a different fashion, you had that individual who was not 100% there, was a little bit slower perhaps than the rest, and the town used to make fun of him. And there was an individual, we'll call him Ruvain, who heard that they were opening a tobacco factory a short while distance away from Radin. And as the opening event, they were going to give out two free packages of tobacco. Cheap tobacco, but nonetheless free. He heard about this. He said, a chance to get, for me, I'm so poor, I have no money. For me to get 2 free packages of tobacco, I have to go. And he goes there, and he comes back full of smiles, rejoicing that he came back with his 2 free packages of tobacco. And the townspeople gathered around, and they said, no, Ruvain, so what did you come back with? So he says, what do you mean? I have 2 free packages of tobacco. He says, how long did it take you to get there? He said, 3 days. He says, how long did it take you to get back? He said, there were some weather issues. It took me 4 days to get back. He said, you traveled for a week for two free packages of snuff tobacco? And the Chafetz Chaim said, if we look at ourselves, are our lives really any different? HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings us down here, and we make a tremendous journey. Midnei ma yarda neshama lamata. Why does the neshama, the heilige neshama that comes down, that's underneath the throne, the kisei hakavod, that this neshama, our soul, which sits under the chair of God, it's in the most holiest place possible in the universe, and it makes a trip all the way down to this lowly world, and then it has to make the trip, travel back up at the end of our lives. And how many times do we come back at the end and say, what do we come back with? Maybe 2 free packages of snuff tobacco. When we have to look at our lives and we see, are we involved in pettiness, frivolity, selfishness, thinking about ourselves, and we come back with a few breklach, a few crumbs, a mitzvah here, a little Torah here, a little chesed. Or perhaps, if we look at it in a little bit of a different perspective, we say, we made a tremendous journey to get here. We expended so much effort, time, energy to come down to this world. There must be a greater reason, a greater purpose. And then when we make our return trip, if we had that hashkafa, that understanding, that perception the entire way through, we come back with a lot more than 2 free packages of tobacco. We come back with full of bundles and packages, chavilas and chavilas, of Torah, of Ma'asim Tovim, of mitzvahs, because we've achieved what, in some level, our purpose on this world. That's to understand that's our job, not to make sure that we're so insignificant and so petty, and we look at our lives that's, come on, what's it all about? We live life as something so much more. You look at the Nesiim, we say, Naso Yisroish, Nasai, lift up, raise up your heads. The Nesiim were people who raised themselves up. It's no wonder when each one gave a carbon, they wanted to thank HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They wanted to show Hashem how much they appreciated their ability, their position. And they gave a sacrifice, they gave a carbon for Hashem. Every single one of them was mechaven, had the same exact intention. Each one of their own came with the same one, as Rabbi Yerucham says, when you go on a straight path, you find company, you find other people. When you're sometimes all the way on your own, you got to question yourself, am I really on the right path? But when we see there's a super highway and there's multitudes going there, we know we're on the right direction. The Nesiim were those who were yashar, who were straight people. They had one goal in mind: how to make the Rabbeinu Shalom, our God, happy. What is my job in this world? What am I here for? And when they had that perception, they had that understanding, they had that hashkafa, and they went through life, they became Nesiim. They became people who raised themselves up. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, God gave them the opportunity to raise up others as well. So if we change our hashkafa somewhat, to whatever amount that we have to moderate it, and we start realizing that we're not here for another 2 free packages of snuff, but rather we're here to accomplish, we expended a lot of energy. We sacrificed a lot to come down to this world. And for the tikkun that we need for ourselves is something so much more. Then we come back full with Torah, with mitzvahs, with ma'asim tovim, with chesed, with tzedakah, with not being selfish, but rather being selfless, thinking about others first, and of course, most importantly, thinking about God and how to improve ourselves to connect to Him further. And then, not only will we be just raising ourselves up as Naso, but Hashem will give us the opportunity to raise others up as well. And then that big, large, long journey that we took to get here will be so worth it. Have a wonderful Shabbos.